I'm Steve Sabol. In selecting the superior performances of 1991, the athletes we considered were dominant players with an ability to single-handedly determine the outcome of a game. Players like Michael Irvin of the Cowboys, Houston's Warren Moon, and Detroit's Barry Sanders. Also, Redskin place kicker Chip Lohmiller, who scored a league-high 149 points. You know, that's 6 more than the entire season total produced by the Indianapolis Colts. But when you talk about a one-man gang, well, Thurman Thomas, he stands alone. Buffalo's versatile back led pro football in total yards from scrimmage for the 3rd consecutive season. The Bills were the AFC's best team, and in our opinion, Thurman Thomas was one of 1991's superior performers, the AFC Player of the Year.
While the high-powered Buffalo Bills offense features many dangerous weapons, none can strike at you in so many different ways as number 34, Thurman Thomas.
Down outside the 10, Thurman at the 10, breaks it off, comes to the 5, and goes in.
In what is becoming a yearly habit, the talented Thomas was once again the statistical leader in a multitude of offensive categories. He led the AFC in rushing, as well as touchdowns scored. No running back in the NFL caught more passes. And no NFL player came close to matching his remarkable 2,038 total yards from scrimmage.
He has, in my mind, the single most important quality of a great running back, and that is balance. He can be hit, and you don't topple him, you move him to the side. He can, because of his great balance, he has the ability to cut. He has great discretion when to turn it on, when to go outside, when to cut it back, when to lunge forward. Beyond that, and this was quite a bonus for us, he's a magnificent receiver as a running back. We didn't know he was that good a receiver. Coming out of college, he rarely caught a ball. And when called upon to block, he does the dirty work too.
Bills are showing pass blocking at the moment, and they're going to throw again, another blitz. And here's the throw downfield. Reed's got it. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
I'm not just a runner that everybody thinks that I am. You know, you have a lot of running backs who can just run the football, and that's just about all they can do. I like to expand my game, and expanding my game is blocking, when I have to pick up blitz, and also pass receiving. Not the little 5-yard passes, the 10-yard passes, but also the passes downfield 25 and 30 yards.
In Buffalo, Thurman Thomas is the X factor, the clutch player the Bills look to when their push-button offense gets bogged down.
I think the thing that makes him so great is that he can take it up another level in big games. And he's got great ability, balance, speed, all of the things that are evident to the naked eye. But the thing that you don't see, unless you're around him on a day-to-day basis, is that great desire to win and that absolutely fanatical desire to be the best he can be in big ball games. That's what sets him apart.
Indeed, in a 1989 playoff in Cleveland, Thomas tied an all-time NFL postseason record with 13 receptions. In the 1990 playoffs, he gained over 100 yards rushing in victories over the Dolphins and Raiders before his spectacular effort against the New York Giants that rates among the greatest in Super Bowl history. With Buffalo's passing game neutralized, Thomas single-handedly took on the Giants. Thomas gained 190 total yards in an heroic performance that would have earned him the Super Bowl MVP award had Scott Norwood's kick not sailed wide of the mark. The disappointing setback did not deter Thomas from picking up in 1991 where he left off in 1990. On opening day, Thomas set a furious pace that even his teammates could not keep up with. In a rare double, he gained over 100 yards rushing and receiving in what was the league's best individual effort of the season. Since opening day, Thomas has not let up. Consequently, neither have the Bills. As he shatters record after record, it's not premature to compare Thomas to some of the game's all-time greats. Consider that in his first 4 years, he has rushed for nearly 2,000 more yards than O.J. Simpson did in similar time. And by becoming the league leader in all-purpose yards for the 3rd straight season, he accomplished a feat not seen since Gale Sayers did it some 25 years ago. In the end, Thomas's place in NFL history is still to be determined. But make no mistake about his role in the present. He is the league's finest overall player, something that did not take Don Shula very long to surmise when asked that very question.
There's one that jumps out at me without any prolonged thought, and that's Thurman Thomas. This is a player that can do it all.
By doing it all, Thurman Thomas richly deserves his distinction as the AFC Player of the Year and one of the outstanding performers who made the season of 1991.
In the NFL, it's a fact of life that quarterbacks get most of the press. But what about the men who sack the quarterback, the men capable of KOing the passer? In 1991, no one got to the quarterback more often than Pat Swilling, and he helped lead the Saints to their first ever division title. Now, getting to the quarterback takes a lot of technique, and technique does go a long way, but it's no substitute for desire. And in 1991, no one had more desire than Pat Swilling. His 17 sacks made him the NFL's superior performer in that department and made him the Defensive Player of the Year.
New Orleans has always been a party town, and the beat picks up when the Saints are winning. They've been winning ever since owner Tom Benson took over the team. At about the same time Benson arrived, so did Pat Swilling, who has quietly become one of the game's premier linebackers and has helped establish a winning tempo in the Crescent City. After 6 years, Swilling and New Orleans go together like gumbo and rice. But his big, easy-going manner disappears on the field. And in 1991, Pat Swilling was named Defensive Player of the Year, awarded annually to the league's most dominant defender.
Craig, who wants to throw the ball, knocked loose. He's flying around the 15-yard line. Looks like Swilling has it.
Despite his success, Swilling anchors a defense still looking for respect.
I don't think we get the respect that our New Orleans Saints defense should get. I think sometimes there are other people in bigger media markets, say Philadelphia, say Chicago, that get more publicity than our defense because they're in bigger media markets. But I think if you put our defense out there, when it's healthy, when we had everybody at full strength, we can play with anybody.
Only the rabid legion of Saints fans are more enthusiastic about defense than the Saints themselves. In 1991, the New Orleans defense was the main ingredient in the team's NFC Central Division Championship. Aside from number 56, the Saints boast 3 other all-pro caliber linebackers, Ricky Jackson, Vaughn Johnson, and Sam Mills. They've been working as a unit for 5 years, and their value to each other is not lost on Pat Swilling.
But I think having those 3 guys, it may hurt me as far as getting the publicity, but I think it helps me also because you can't just key in on me. When people tried to do that this year, Ricky Jackson came through and had a great year for us.
All 4 Saints linebackers have gone to the Pro Bowl at least 3 times each. The Saints never dreamed of having that much talent back in the lean years. In those days, the only thing worse than enduring the painfully hot and humid New Orleans summers was suffering through the season itself. With the arrival of head coach Jim Mora, things began to change. The team welcomed some new blood, some fresh enthusiasm, and got it with a rookie from Georgia Tech.
You got guys like Ricky Jackson who's used to making plays, and then you got a young guy like me who's hungry, who wants to make plays, to make things happen, strip balls, get interceptions, to get sacks.
But Swilling's individual achievements are the result of a team concept.
There always should be more than one guy making a tackle. And that's just a philosophy that I've always had, because that's why I've been taught from college, and here I brought that with me. But that's just the way we try to play defense, get around the football, hustle the football, swarm the football, and that's what it's all about. Makes it fun, makes it real fun.
As a pass rusher extraordinaire, Swilling employs an explosive burst off the line of scrimmage. In an instant, he is a step ahead. This quickness leaves his rivals at an embarrassing disadvantage, and the opposing quarterback becomes the ultimate victim. As a rookie, Swilling saw action in all 16 games. In his second season, he earned the starting job at right outside linebacker. Since then, he has been a team leader in tackles, sacks, and forced fumbles. More important, in the 5 years since Swilling became a starter, the Saints have never had a losing season and have been to the playoff 3 times. Sacks are a major motivator for any pass rusher, and as a pocket buster, Swilling stars, averaging 11 sacks per year.
I think it's kind of sets the pace for you for a year. When you rush the passer as much as I do, you're always trying to get to the quarterback, and you always want to get those sacks. That's a big thing among linemen, linebackers. You always try to get to the quarterback and mount up as many trophies as you can. And trophies, I mean quarterbacks. But the main thing is to help your team win, and that's something that I've been able to do, and that's why I feel so good about winning this award.
Swilling joins an elite group of previous winners that includes Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, Bruce Smith, and Mike Singletary. This season, number 56 led the NFL with 17 sacks. And his mere presence made his teammates better. That may well be the critical part of the total picture that made him the year's most dominant defender.
You're trying to look ahead, but not only getting the sack, but also knocking the ball loose and hopefully enabling your team to win. That's what I'm always trying to do. If I can get there, and hopefully he can't see me, get the ball out, get the turnover.
For Gable, dropping a throw, hit from behind, the ball came loose, it's still loose and around the 10, it's still loose at the 5, Ricky.
Indeed, Pat Swilling has become the complete defender.
Now, looking for the screen, looks like he's going to toss it over to him, picked up at the 38, to the 30, down to the 20, the 10, 5, touchdown save, a 39-yard touchdown.
New Orleans linebacker Pat Swilling, the 1991 Defensive Player of the Year.
The Washington Redskins boasted the best record in 1991 and went on to capture the NFL championship with a superior performance in Super Bowl 26. The Redskins also boasted some of the game's perennial stars, players like Art Monk, Gary Clark, and Darrell Green, players accustomed to postseason accolades. But the man who made the season for the Redskins came in hounded more by doubters than doters. And as he erased those doubts, Mark Rypien earned our nod as one of the year's superior performers, the 1991 NFC Player of the Year.
All season long, a crescendo of appreciation has built for Washington Redskin quarterback Mark Rypien, the NFC Player of the Year.
Rypien sets, fire into the near side. Monk is wide open for a touchdown. Washington Redskins. Boy, he threw a bullet there. Way to go, Rip! Way to go, Ripper!
In 1991, Rypien led the Redskins to the best record in the NFL and established a well-earned reputation as the most accurate long passer in the game. He finished the season with 13 completions of 47 yards or longer and led all NFC quarterbacks in passing with over 3,500 yards and 28 touchdowns. emergence of Mark Rypien as the center of attention is a classic story of redemption, a quest for recognition that began in 1988 amidst conflict and controversy.
Rypien going to get sacked for the first time today. Fumbled the ball, picked up by Harry Carson, still going to the 20.
From the very beginning, Mark Rypien satisfied no one.
We need you!
He was counted on, but usually counted out. Heavy-handed and lead-footed, Rypien became the perfect target for scorn and ridicule. Clumsily, he groped for answers that seemed way beyond his grasp. His arm was a cannon, but his cannonballs carried Redskin receivers beyond the field of play. But more damning than anything was the perception that Mark Rypien collapsed in the clutch.
In the playoff game, his eyes weren't telling me that he was believing in himself. He came up the line of scrimmage, and in the middle of the first quarter, I came to the sideline and said, this game is going to be won. This guy doesn't believe he can do it.
Rypien's mistake-riddled playoff performance against the 49ers only refueled the doubters who questioned his ability to lead the Redskins to a championship.
When it comes down to crunch time, some guys want the ball. Some guys want to make the plays. Other guys are just as soon, hey, give it to somebody else. You know what I mean? I'll choose to play another time.
Option 088, you may have a shot.
A confidence and a belief in somebody has to be earned over a period of time. And I think in the team sports, your best leaders many times are the guys that players know, hey, this guy's not talking a game, he's going to play it.
The quiet and modest Rypien, who never ever talked a good game, finally began playing one in 1991. What disappeared were the foolish mistakes. What appeared was the football in the tiniest openings, literally threaded through the eye of the defense.
You have to have a smart guy, and we definitely have a smart quarterback who's got a great arm and had a terrific year for us.
Rypien has always shunned personal glory for team goals. Nothing demonstrated this we, not me philosophy more than this game against the Falcons, where instead of breaking an age-old Redskin passing record, he benched himself when victory was certain.
To the near side, he's got him on the run. It's Clark at the 50, 40, horse race, 30, 20, stumbles at the 15, 10, 5, touchdown. And Mark Rypien has just tied a 44-year-old record set by Sammy Baugh.
The bottom line is, are you known as a winner or a loser? And I think, you know, it's I've played some games, you know, where I've just been totally off and we've ended up winning. But once I leave that locker room with a win, I mean, no matter how you play, you still go home with a smile on your face.
While the glow of a winner bathed every Redskin this season, the carrier of the flame was Mark Rypien. It was Rypien who generaled them to the second greatest season in their history, and it was Rypien who led them to victory over the arch-rival Giants for the first time since 1987.
Here's the end-around fake again, the monk this time. There goes Rypien going deep on the fly to Clark. He's at the 1, into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
In fact, Rypien beat the Giants twice, once overcoming a 13-0 halftime lead. But Rypien's heroics were forgotten when his 2 touchdown passes instead became 2 dramatic touchdown receptions by number 84, Gary Clark.
Overlooked in the Gary Clark story is Mark Rypien, and came up with some big plays. Give him some time and he'll make it happen, and it's happened. And he had a great year, and I think he's improved his game not only from the physical end, but mentally he's probably stronger and tougher than he was. So, yeah, I think there's a great belief in him.
You still are waiting for the guy to get on the field and take you down and win a championship, to win a Super Bowl. It's still not over for Mark, let's face it. He's going to be judged here with the Redskins if he can win a Super Bowl, because that's what other quarterbacks here have done. And so he's going to be judged on that.
We must wait until Mark Rypien's place in quarterback history is judged. But for now, the 1991 season, he was by acclamation the most valuable player in the National Football Conference.
The many talents of Buffalo's Thurman Thomas, the muscle of the Saints' Pat Swilling, the mastery of the Redskins' Mark Rypien. These were the personalities who gave personality to the season. They were the superior performers of 1991.